to everybody that has tuned in. Anyways, it's been a couple weeks and I've been talking with this company called the Hyde House out in Napa, California. Very nice gentleman. I've known him probably 30, 32 years. And I just called him to get some leather and that. And he said, so how you been? Da, da, da. This is a couple weeks ago. And so I told him what I was doing. And he says, well, Doug, you can't be doing that on your own. And I just, it was really, I really thought to myself, wow, this dude has a heart, and he says, so why don't we help you here? I said, well, sure. That'd be great if you could. And he says, so what are you doing? And I told him the whole story in that. And he says, well, you can't be doing that by yourself. And it showed me where the guy is. And his name is Rob Dietz. He's the owner of the Hyde House. Okay. And what he's done, and this is what, it took over a couple of weeks back and forth with meetings. He's a very busy man, of course, talking with people around the world, purchasing leather, so on and so forth. So over a couple of weeks, we got this thing all honed down. And what they're going to do is they're going to give us wholesale prices. Instead of you paying retail, you're going to buy their leather at wholesale. Okay. So, and I mean, these people, their warehouse, I don't know. I started in 1970. My parents got me a beginner's kit from Tandy. And so an example, what I'm saying here is when you walk into a Tandy store and you see their kits and their tools, nice big selection of leather, and that's cool. But when I got to meet this dude 32 years ago, I just, when I seen their warehouse, my jaw just dropped. I'm thinking, holy cow. And then, so he's gave me some updates on pictures, which we posted later from my daughter. And there's going to be a special code for all my students, as well as a group that I belong to that's helped me for quite some time. And it's called Montanica Extreme. Very nice gentleman. And the show Young Youth and Kids about hunting. And very down to earth, just like what I'm trying to do here, teaching the youth and people that need some guidance and have extra time, especially with things going on today, of course, same with them. But anyways, to get back to it, he's offering their group and my class, like 35% off. So I was just really shocked and very grateful for him doing that for us. So, but just as an example, back in the day, like I just said, where I started, I know everybody knows the store I'm talking about. Well, when you look at these pictures that you'll see later, your jaw drop, because I mean, these aisles of leather are basically like walking into a Home Depot with racks of wood, except this is racks of leather. So that would give you an idea, pictured in your mind, just how much leather this gentleman carries. And I mean, anything from bison to elk to deer to mule deer to lambskin, anything but an exotic. But if you want a selection of leather, this is going to be the place to go. And I am so grateful for Rob. And he has an awesome crew, and he's already informed his whole crew, the people who take orders. They're aware of all these new codes that are passed out and given to our class. So they already know that when you folks call, you just have to tell them the code that will be posted later, so you can be purchasing leather at that discount price, wholesale price. So, and there again, so nice of him to do that. And so it took a couple weeks to get this put together, but there again, if it wasn't for Amanda on that end and my son Garth working with me, we wouldn't have been able to put this whole thing together for you. So we just want to let you know that everything's wrapped up now, and we got that all finished. And let me tell you, any kind of leather you can think of, those folks have it. And all I can say is look at the pictures. Look at the pictures. So, and there again, the Hyde and Leather Warehouse in Napa, California. Okay, so anyways, where we need to take off is we can now, I guess, switch to the other camera. Last week, I think it was, I tooled the X pattern here. Do you remember that? All the tools there. I think the whole list is there for you. I called it my X pattern years ago. And does that need to be held closer? There we go. Okay, there, that's nice. So anyways, that is the, I believe, K153 left and right, the F926, the Kelly 305 diamond, the V400 veiner. That's really sharp curved veiner. And then you have the number 13 basic diamond. So I believe that covers everything, but that really turned out nice. And like we said last week, to get your areas that are going to be sealed off, which is right here. This is your natural area, which I've always called through the years, being I did stamping, okay, I call this the flamer. It's actually the F96 years ago, and still it's taught in Al Stillman's book that way off in the distance in the mountains, when you turn that backwards, tap it side to side, it creates a mountain view of small pines. That was the actual purpose of that tool right there being made. But it always kind of looked like a flame. So I taught my students the flamer tool, of course. So anyways, when we dye this today, this is to stay natural for us. And we're going to come around here with cordovan dye, Phoebene's cordovan dye, this area here all the way around. Okay. And then we're going to come back with British tan into this cavity here in these 4 spots right here. So that way we'll have the antique, we'll have the cordovan, we'll have the British tan, and we'll have the base sealed area, or the Angelus acrylic finisher, and then the antique. So it's like a 4-tone piece of dye work that we're doing. Okay. So once I get my gloves on, I don't want to be handling it again. So I want to explain this one. This one we did here, this was like a pyramid pattern. The V400, the F916, the F921 left and right coming in on both sides here, right here and right here. And then the S624 cedar down through the center. And there again, once the F926 tool there. And that pretty much sums up that, kind of like a pyramid pattern. But anyways, what we're going to do here, both of these will have to be done very quickly to dye these areas right here. Okay. But I notice, and I'll hold this close so you can watch, this particular wallet back must have been laying around and something got to it, lighting or something. But you'll notice right here, this particular corner right here, it's dark and then it's light. So there was a spot apparently here on the leather, right in this area right here. I mean, overall, the rest of these points all took the sealer, Angelus acrylic finisher, really nice, nice mellow shine to it. And so these here are to stay natural, or they might have a tint of light blue. We'll see how that works. In those other pictures that were posted on the page, if you look back, you can see what that actually is going to look like. But down the road, we'll get into this is kind of like a warm up. When I go to demonstrate today, this is kind of being like a warm up to speed dyeing. Okay. And to point out speed dyeing is when you have a sealed area, okay, natural with acrylic finisher, approximately 2 coats. Okay. When you swipe across this area, which we will with the blue dye on it, okay, years and years and years of experience, you calculate, you get the numbers. So approximately what I'm saying here is the darker your color, the more pigment there is in the dye, the quicker it's going to penetrate through these points right here. So blue, the color blue, because it's darker, has more pigment. I have approximately 7 seconds to put the dye on here and get the excess wiped off here with the base, with the acrylic finisher rag that I'm going to use. Because in 7 seconds, it can penetrate through this here. And then that wouldn't be real cool. Okay. So, and what will happen here, this back up here, this here is all going to be black here. This here is going to be cordovan here. And when you go to tan, that's a later color. Okay. So when we come across that, we have approximately, or I do, 11 seconds to get that dye. Put it across there. I'm going to pick up the rag and swipe back and get the dye off the acrylic finisher here. After 11 seconds, it's history. The dye is ate through that sealer. Okay. And that's simply years and years of doing this. So when we go to dye belts later to learn things later down the road, we'll learn more about speed dyeing. So, but this is going to be like a warm up to it you're going to get to see today. So we'll get into doing the dyeing now. Let's work on my X pattern. Now, let you know ahead of time, probably the worst one you do is purple. Purple is next to black. Okay, purple, you have approximately 3 seconds to put it down, take it off to save your other color that's already there. So, but over the years, of course, when you do it for a living, you have to come up with all these different and unique things to do and make things different. And so it's all, this is all self-taught, of course. So I'm going to try to do this. So I'm going to do this as far as how you would do it. Of course, I'm going to fold that down like that. I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to fold this over the edge right here. This point here, half of this is going to balance on the edge of the table. I think, yeah, you can see that, all right? So there'll be spots I'll need with the Q-tip. So we're going to put that down, and then we're going to get a rag here. And I got like a flat corner, and it's, get it to lay really flat, smooth for you. Okay, so, and there again, I'm going to make this meet the middle of the table, which will put a crease in the rag. If you recall that from the past, if you go back in different videos. That way, only half the rag, let me try to stay on top of this for you, especially people learning this starting first time. Okay, you put the rag right up to the top of the port, you give it air, and it'll load the rag right up for you. Give it air, it comes out. Okay, we got plenty of dye there now. Just to be safe, I'm gonna blot it a little bit so nothing can gush out. I'm gonna put this over the edge of the table. Okay, so we got one side there. Okay, so we got the center here done. So now we're gonna go down the edge, our edges. I don't know if you can see it, but the leather's bending for me, letting the rag come into the distance I want it. So I don't travel up into the tooling. We want to go up to the tooling. Okay. Okay, so now we have one side completed and the center done. So we're going to go down the other side. I think I'm going to reposition my rag here. It wants to be a little crease there that shouldn't be. So I'm going to readjust that so it's more square on the end. That's a little better. Okay, so the fold is done and both edges there. So as you notice, I see a shadow like right in here. I'm going to get a Q-tip. Right about here, I'm getting a shadow. I think everybody sees that right in there. We're going to have to go back and try to get that taken care of. We don't want any, want to try to keep it as even as possible. Of course, you're only human, so just do the best you can. Oh yeah, sweet, sweet. Get this corner right here where we're at it. And I'm sure probably make it look easy to some people that watch this. That takes years and years of practice, of course, excluding when I'm showing you little things like this, tricks, you know, you can probably get it down much sooner versus self-titled the years, you know, which is the reason I do this. I caught myself, I think, right about here. We're going to hit that little spot there. Okay, so we have that done with our quarter bend. So being we're into the dark colors, we're gonna switch out, go to this pattern right here, and we're gonna apply the black. Put that. So this one, I'm just going to show you a little different way so people can see it two different ways of doing this. This one, we're going to do it with an applicator versus a rag, just so you can see another technique of doing it. Same thing, about half the thickness with hanging off the edge of the table. Move your applicator in. Just really watch it, because there's a lot in it. It can flow right into your tooling, and you're further ahead. You can see what's happening. You got a little bump on the high point of that 407. Don't try to play gambling with it. Just come back with a Q-tip and dot that. So you're further ahead, not playing any games with it, because once it's to the inside, it's a done deal. You ain't going to change it, of course. So by putting the black down first, once the blue is put on and then we have natural, it really gives it a beautiful contrast. It's more like a, I don't know, kind of like a dress billfold. That's why I always looked at it, for, your slacks, black or navy blue slacks. And even, if it's for blue jeans, it just, and then having that black border to it, just really looks nice. It's sweet. Yeah, man, it really soaks in. I hope everybody had a good week anyways. Now this little rascal here seems to be a little flat. I want to not let it try to control me. I'm going to try to get that to bend more on its own, so the die can't get off into the leather on me where you don't want it. I'm going to do it one more time. Then you're going to hold it up, see if we got any gray involved with it that you might see. I see a little bit right in here. I think I'm going to run this here, and you can see a little bit right up in there. Yeah, you can see that. For fun, I'm just going to go down this side too. I'm not sure what that is, but anyways, I think we got that now. We're just going to now put some of our black Phoebeans oil dye into the cap. And then what we'll do is put aside your applicator, your dauber, and then make sure this Q-tip that it's tightened down. The well's tightened down. So one end is spun one way, the other end is spun the opposite direction when they manufacture a Q-tip. So anyways, you'll put some on your Q-tip now, and you're going to go back in now, and we're going to hit these little spots here that are left natural. So hope everybody enjoyed doing their wallet over the last week and got that complete. Went down to see my father earlier today. He's doing good. And of course, if it wasn't for him or my mother getting me my beginner set of 1970 Christmas time, I wouldn't be standing here right now showing you the class I'm doing this leather work. So I'm very grateful, very grateful. And grateful for my kids being here helping me. That one, it's kind of spreading out on me. So I'm going to get a different Q-tip that tends to be a little tighter wound. Get me back in the control of things here. Anybody have any questions? Okay. So anyways, as I was saying in the beginning, this other group that is going to be joining in with our class, getting the discount, and they've been invited into the classroom if you want to join. I've been helping in their ministry as far as their hunting. They focus on young children, boys and girls, learning conservation and outdoors and nature and stuff like that. Pretty cool. And they learn how to trap and hunt and things like that, and learn the life of certain animals, you know, like beaver and that, coyote, and, you know, they're out in Montana and on that area, there tend to be in the Dakotas, there's a lot of farmers out there, and they have a big problem with coyotes getting in and killing their sheep, killing their chickens, killing their ducks. And so it's something that it seems like it's a regular routine because of the population, and they have to keep that under control so the farmer can still have chicken on the table and sell chickens to make money and get eggs, etc. You know, and it's just the way it is out there. So that's something they kind of really focus on because it's something that needs to be controlled, you know, controlled hunting. So basically what we do is the boy and the girl, they have a little hunting contest, whoever gets the biggest buck or, you know, whatever. And I always question them, is there a hunting vest there on you? And so it's kind of funny. We kind of, you know, I tease them a little bit on that, but that is so crucial to have your hunting vest on. So try to do it lightly, but they understand the point of it. But great people, they're a great supporter of me. They love what I'm doing. And so I'm very gracious to them. We work together as a team helping youth. So if you ever want to check them out, it's called Montanica Extreme. Really nice people. Justin out there is kind of head of it there, and then Mike is. So I think I have it all. If we look here. Okay, and there again, this was the corner we were talking about that has the issue with the inconsistency, whatever was on that particular area. There we go. I think you can see that right there. How it's shadier up here. So this is probably what's going to happen. This is going to end up taking dye on me a little bit. Just depends how smooth and quick it goes across for me. So anyways, being the cordovan has dried and the natural, we're going to go in and put the tan across it. So got to change gloves, of course. And we have our tan dye rag there waiting for us. Okay, so when you're doing something such as this, such as, you know, speed dyeing, everything really has to be organized and set up ahead of time so there's not issues. Okay, so we have the tan rag from before, but it's very flat and ready to, I say, rock and roll, and it has to be. So just so there's any issues as far as it being super flat, I'm going to purposely pull it over here one more time, because you want this baby to lay as flat as possible. So we'll be putting the Phoebe's British Tan on that rag there. And then what we'll be doing is on the other rag prior to that, we're going to take this right here, the number 600 Angelus acrylic finisher. So what we have to do prior to the dye, we have to get another rag ready for us. Okay. Doesn't want to lay out flat for me here. Okay, so there again, you're going to want this to lay as flat as possible too. And there again, we'll get it to try to get as much of this as possible to stay flat for you. Okay, so that's ready there. So what we'll do next is we're going to move our tan stuff over there, and we're now going to take the Angelus number 600 acrylic finisher and put it onto the flat rag. And there again, you're going to tip it up, give it a little air. And this you want to, it's going to take a lot because you want it to work with you. You don't want to not put enough on, and then you get wiping and realize, oh, nice, we don't have enough on the rag. And then you've just toasted your wallet or your holster or whatever you may be doing. Okay, so it's getting pretty saturated. I'm going to get this corner over here. Okay, I think we'll get this corner right here. It's feeling pretty good. I just want to make sure we got enough. Okay. All right, so it's kind of on the juicy side. It's pretty much saturated through because as I wipe across the wallet, I'm going to pick up the excess British tan dye that's going to be setting in this cavity, this X right here. So we have to get the British tan dye off this here. So that's the reason this has to be loaded as much as it is. Okay, so we got that ready to rock and roll there. Let's go with the British tan. Now this, in this circumstance, you don't want it absolutely dry. You don't want it heavy or juicy. It's really practice on this one, knowing how much to put in it. And the thing is, with this design, it has a lot of rough edges to the tooling. So sometimes it likes to grab the tool of the, the F926. I think I'm just about on the money here. Perfect. So we're going to get right into this. So. See, and I've got the excess. So you can kind of see how fast you got to move with it. You got to be right on top of it, and everything has to be ready, as you've seen. I'm going to give the edges a little extra there, because that, of course, picked up some of the British tan as we swiped across it. So now I got a little extra here left over. I can kind of gently wipe over it. Have it lay as flat as you can, of course, because you're just going to gently. And so we're going to get into the blue now while this is drying, so you can see the contrast we got there. And take in mind, it's something you're not going to do overnight. It takes years of practice, but this is just an example. Like I said, about 11 seconds you have to work with. So we'll switch rags here, and we're going to go right into doing the blue, Beans blue dye. Want to lay flat. There we go. So that's going to be for our blue dye, Beans blue dye. So now we have to prep another rag with the Angelus 600. Okay, can you put this, Garth, under the fan over there so I can set for us, please? Yeah, Garth's going to take that other British tan with a 1/4 inch. We're going to get the fan running on that, so you folks can, I don't take up your whole night, and plus we can get this finished on time. Because this is going to be our finisher that needs to get put on this. And there again, as you've seen, it has to be loaded fairly good, because you have to have the rag ready to move. And this one here, like I said, we have about 7 seconds to do this one. Believe it or not, sometimes it's easier on a belt because it's more narrow and you can move your rag right down that thing really, really quick, versus a wallet is a little wider, a little more challenging. But I just wanted to be able to show you how to do it this way. One with a rag doing the edge, and one with a dauber doing the edge of the dauber doing the edge of the wallet, and then the rag doing the edge of the wallet. So I'm getting there. I can kind of tell I just got a little bit more. So after that British tan and 1/4 dries with the X pattern, what we're going to do then is we're going to take a piece of sheepskin and gently buff the surface to make it slick and smooth, because it's going to have to glide when we put our antiquing on. So we have that now loaded and ready. I think you might not be able to see much difference, but acrylic 600s on there by Angelus. And there again, this would be the third time I'm showing you, because this is probably going to happen, and I want you to be aware of it, is this spot right here. Whatever was over in here was an issue with what was on the leather. So I can expect that's probably going to be an issue. So what I'm going to do, instead of starting at this point and coming across, more dye is going to want to move out of my rag quicker. So what you'd want to do in this circumstance is turn it around, and you want that to be the last to get hit, because it's going to have less dye landing on that area as you go across. So we'll be starting from this side, going across it like that. Okay, there again, have the rag here folded up. Okay, we only have to do the center, so I'm gonna try to play it cool and not get it loaded too heavy. Okay, so that baby's ready to go there. So, okay, here we go. Let's get the rag on here, or the top on that. So here we go. Yeah, just like I figured. It would pick up some of that blue for me right down here. So I think it came out pretty good, excluding, like I already figured, that one spot. There might have been a little shadow over here. That's the sealer drying there. So anyway, so now we have black border, we have natural around the pyramid, we have V-beams blue across. This will be drying, it's going to get buffed, and then we're going to drop antique into it to make the tooling pop for us. And that's what we want. We want that contrast. So we'll have the contrast in the neutral area as well as in the blue area. So I believe Garth has the other wallet that is drying the X pattern here. Okay, so right here, this now, you can see it has a beautiful shine to it, but it still needs to be buffed gently with a long hair piece of sheep. So if there's any like dull spots after you first put on the acrylic finisher, it dries a little on the dull side. So you want to build the luster up, make sure the whole thing's shining and it's nice and slick. And that's what you got to do, of course. So when your rag goes to come across the surface of the wallet, you're only going to pick up the antique, only the antique that's on the surface of the leather. Everything else, the antique needs to stay down into the tooling. So if you recall back in class, how important it was to keep depth to your tooling. There's got to be darkness in the tooling, or when you go to antique, this isn't going to work. So of course we tooled everything with depth to it. And of course, it's not tooled through. You can just see lightly the pattern to it. So anyways, this is Angela's acrylic finisher. Okay, so we got another rag here. And there again, this is the same thing. You want it to lay nice and flat because you want to glide across the surface of that and only get what's on the top, the excess on the top. And just from experience, what you want to do is, so the rag is dry, put yourself a little bit right there. It's a little bit of waste, but not much. Put that on there. What you've just done by doing that, you've moistened the surface and made this very slick. And that's what you want. You want something that's going to glide across. See, if you were to start right in with a dry rag, it would want to grab the tooling quick. So you don't want it to do that, of course. So here's what we're going to do. You don't have to worry about being fast with this because this antique, you're in control the whole time. It will stain and make a finish, and it goes on even every single time. You'd never do this with Phoebe's or any of, mostly Tandy's products as far as that goes without having blotches, smears, streaks. So there's that. So now we're going to come across and it's dry. So we're going to move to another spot. And there's our finished product there. So now we're going to antique the blue one. Okay, so find another clean spot, which there we go, just like that. I'm going to fold the rag that direction. And there again, just, there again, just put a little bit in the center of each one of those. A lot of slick surface here, so it's not going to need a whole lot because it's going to spread a long ways. As you see, it's just, as long as you got enough to get in that tooling and there's a slick surface there for the rag to glide on, and your antique rag is already moistened. I'm getting the edges on this one first, down the center, like that, and here we go. So anyways, now we've got our wallets all stained and we're complete with our wallets that we've done as far as the X pattern and the blue diamond pattern, pyramid pattern. So I think that's pretty much it for today. We got that all accomplished. We'll get some paperwork done and Amanda will get you all the information and get all the pictures posted from this warehouse at the Hyde House. And there again, you'll have your own code to do your purchasing at wholesale prices. But hey, just give them a thanks from us, Rob Dietz. He's the one the owner, he's the one that worked it out for us. And there again, we're very grateful for them doing it for our class. So anyways, as I said, thanks to my daughter helping us doing the administrating there and my son with the camera and helping me there. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. Does anybody have any questions?